I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, is there any public comment in the closed session? No. Okay, we're gonna convene to closed session. Action taken in closed session. Case number 2021-04-SE. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. Where are we, BA?
Yes.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis,
Yes.
Trustee Chimino,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Yeah.
Trustee Wing.
Yes.
Joe, the next one should be 05, not 04.
Oh, typo.
Typo. Down here it should be 05. Oh, he's got it right,
I got it right. Okay. Did I say 05
No,
on the
no.
first one?
but this is right here.
It's number
Yeah.
3
You
that's
have
wrong,
to
not number
read it.
4.
I
Yeah,
have
they're
the
written wrong
correct
in the
one.
other one.
He's the privileged one.
Case number 2021-05-SE. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move that we approve case 2021-05 SE.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis,
Yes.
Trustee Chimino,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Yes.
Trustee Wing.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the flag salute. Huh? They're coming up. We have our flag saluters. They don't. This is cool. You guys wanna turn around?
Face the flag over
Everyone, please place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Noodles. Thank you very much. And Gigi? Thank you very much. Scout? Thank you very much. Declan? Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. We have a alright, so, 4C.
Oh, that was them.
4C, the approval of amendment to employment agreement for superintendent. The board will now take up consideration of item 4C, consideration and possible approval of the amendment to employment agreement between Cotati-Rohnert Park Unified School District and Dr. Myra Perez. As contained in the brief and general description of item 4C in the agenda, the board will be discussing a proposed and recommended amendment to the district contract with Myra Perez, the district superintendent. The employment agreement between the district and the superintendent allows the board, upon receipt of an overall satisfactory evaluation of the superintendent, to consider granting an increase in the superintendent's annual salary. Accordingly, the superintendent's employment contract states that any adjustment in salary during the term of the contract must be mutually agreed to in writing. Therefore, the board will consider the proposed amendment to the superintendent's employment contract, a 3% salary increase for 2022-2023 school year, which will result a total annual salary of $241,638. Further, the board is also permitted to consider extending the superintendent's contract by 1 year through the 2024-25 school year. The remaining terms of the superintendent's contract will remain unchanged. the board will now discuss item 4C. Is there any discussion? Okay. The board will now vote on whether to approve the proposed amendment. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve 4C.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Get a roll call vote?
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Gillis?
Yes.
Trustee Chimino?
Yes.
Trustee Nelson?
Yes.
Trustee Wing?
Yes.
Student board members. An oath of office administered to the 2022-2023 board members, Joe Stans, and, oh, that's me. That's not you. Would you guys please stand up and put your right hand on your heart? And you're going to repeat after me. And when I say your name, you're going to state your name, not Joe Stan. I, your name.
Naomi,
Okay. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of California,
and the Constitution of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Subscribed and sworn to before me this 16th day of August, 2022. This repeat? Oh, okay. Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Joe Stans, what a good guy. Well, it would have been Joe Stans and student stands, student board members. Okay. Presentation. No public comment, right? First off, Technology Middle School.
I'm going to invite Principal McKenna to the podium. She's going to be talking about the program at her school and how the students and how the staff approach community building and social emotional learning. And this concludes our school showcases. We went through every school and everybody showcased a program they're proud of. So now it's Ms. Principal McKenna's turn.
Good evening.
Hello.
I also brought back a teacher. I'm kidding. This is Mary Niederberger. She is one of our SCC teachers. So thank you for letting us present tonight. I think that Dr. Perez kind of explained a little bit about what we're presenting. Do I get to control it from here? Oh, awesome. Okay. Okay, so this presentation was originally made to present last year. However, I think with some illnesses on my campus and different things, we weren't able to present. So we're going to show you now, and it works perfectly because we're continuing this work this year. So, okay, our presentation objectives. So during this presentation, we basically just want to show you how we address social emotional learning at Technology Middle School. It's always been a big need at our school, so we've done a lot of work with our community around making our students and families feel safe. And then with COVID, that impacted it probably threefold. So last year we were, trying to continue the systems we had in place with the little glitches with staffing. However, we kind of had to pull back, I think, mid-year and be like, we need to wrap this all back together and do more, even more. So we're also going to explain why social emotional learning is so important for our students and staff. So this aligns with our LCAP goal, the third goal, create and maintain optimum learning environments for students and staff. This is something this is like the core of what students need when they come to school. When I was a teacher, kindergarten, first grade, so it was a little bit different, but I always told the parents if their students don't feel safe at school or in their environment, there's just no way they're going to learn. They just can't. Their little minds cannot function, and think about academics. So, and then I move on to middle school, and it's still the same, no matter what. They're just big kids with the same type of hearts and minds. So, and same with teachers. I feel like, with our staff, for them to be, at their optimum teaching, they have to have a safe environment as well. So Mary's going to read this little quote to you.
So this quote says, social and emotional learning can help all young people and adults thrive both personally and academically, develop and maintain positive relationships, become lifelong learners, and contribute to a more caring, just world. A lot of what we're talking about aligns with the CASEL framework, with social emotional learning, which is a passion of mine because it's a passion of our site. Because of the work that our site's been doing with social emotional learning, I actually decided to start graduate school in trauma-informed education. So it's pretty fascinating, like the CASEL framework and everything that has to do with it. So it was a big driving force into me as a lifelong learner. It's something I just can't speak enough about the impact of social emotional learning. Not only is it research-based and evidence-based, to start with, right? Like, there are so many impacts of social emotional learning and the work that's done at our site, at other middle schools, at the high school. It's just a massive continuum, the cycle, and it's pretty cool, the work that we've been doing surrounding restorative justice and social emotional learning at our site.
Okay. So when we look at the systems we have in place and, to change, make adjustments, this is the data that we review. For this presentation, it was a 2021 Youth Truth Survey, our TMS Parent Survey, TMS Student Survey, and just anecdotal data from administrators, support staff, and teachers, because they're in there and they see it with all the kiddos. So I was just going to show you a little bit of our data. So how much did the COVID-19 pandemic affect you? This was from the Youth Truth Survey. As you could see, 52 for 6%, 56 seventh grade, and 8th grade we had 42%. It was a lot. That's more than half, And then another question on there was, I feel safe during school. This is something that my staff and I are always looking at. We want to make sure those kiddos, that they're feeling safe. Anything less than, it should be 100%, but anything less than 80, we're like, what are we doing? What do we need to change? So our 6th graders, they felt safe when this was taken. 7th graders, almost there, and 8th graders. So we know we have some work to do. Those are also kind of really big transition years for those students. So we're looking at some ways to tweak some of our systems. And this is more, I really feel like a part of my school's community. So as you can see, our 7th graders were not really feeling part of our community. So it's hard, this is autopsy data, so it's hard for me to speak about this class right now, but obviously at that time, we would be really focusing on the year, it would be the previous year students. So Uh-huh.
If this was spring of 2021, the seventh graders are now freshmen.
Yes.
Am I doing the math right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just
So,
wanted to-
yeah, so it's like hard for me to say how they are right now, you know?
Well, today they might be a little crazy. Today was their first day of school.
Yeah, first day of school. Yeah, so, you know,
Can I
our
ask a
sixth
question?
graders, oh, sorry.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, can you hear me? No.
Yep.
Now you can hear me. This is probably a silly question, but why are we looking at data that's over a year old?
This is our most like recent data. Like we just got the new Youth True survey that we're going to be implementing. I would say our surveys this year did not have we did not have that many people respond, so I didn't feel like it was a good poll to mix from. And I pulled this data like specifically for this presentation about time and place we were last year.
So to ask why students don't feel safe specifically might not even apply to today since this is over a year old?
Right, right.
So do we have any idea, was there a drill down into why? I mean, what are they afraid of? What makes them feel not safe?
Well, the good thing is, glad you asked, we didn't really exactly have a tool. We did a lot of work inside classrooms to try and build community and things like that. But what we're looking forward to in looking at this data is we needed a tool that we could not do like, you know, a survey at the end of the year and get the results a year later. So Dr. Perez Lucelena, I can't remember the name of the program that we have for this year, but we have a new screener, so all the students will, Satchel Pulse, that's right. All the students will take the screener at the beginning of the year and like certain checkpoints throughout the year, and then we can drill down more about what is happening at the school.
Okay?
Are they gonna take the survey like during school hours? Or will it- Okay.
Yeah, and it's quick.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically, it's, you know, it's a questionnaire, and then depending on how they rate, you know, then as a team, we decide who to pull and kind of how to tackle the situation.
So, can I ask a question? So if you go back a slide, go back, not forward. So, one more slide back. They talk about how COVID-19 affected them. So obviously there could have been a loss of learning, or could have been a social issue since I'm not with my peers and friends. So was that directed at both of those type of issues?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
all kind of mixed in one.
Okay, so we're not just focusing on the fact that you maybe didn't learn as much, or you just felt, you know, stressed because I wasn't with my friends. So,
It didn't go into specifics.
okay, but it kind of hit the gamut of
Yes.
things. Okay.
Yes.
And then from this, hopefully we'll be able to see if there's any deficiencies, and if we lost something, how we regain that then?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, especially with the Satchel Pulse program we're going to be using this year. I mean, there's so many more opportunities to check data, and it actually goes really well with our MTSS framework that we're working on as a district, because that's another way to tier the supports that we need for our students. So, you know, it's more constant, and, you know, just like in a classroom, when they're, you know, doing constant assessments, they can change their instruction. We'll be able to change what we, you know, our social emotional learning at school.
Okay.
Are all schools doing this Satchel, or is it just middle school, or? We are piloting.
So we are piloting it at schools, so it's throughout the district. Yes, we had, I can't remember, Dr. Bettis, how many teachers piloted last year?
26.
26? Okay.
I have a question too. I keep looking at that first one. How much has the COVID-19 pandemic affected you? And then it gives percentages. I don't even understand what that means, you know, because it's like, how much has it affected you? It's not like, has it negatively affected you, and 50% are saying it has. It's saying how much it has.
Yeah, it's very broad.
So like, how do they answer
They
that?
even, some of the kids ask that too, like, what do they mean? Like, did it Was it positive? Was it negative? Because it was positive for some kids, actually. I mean, being able to be home and being on distance learning.
Because it
So-
should be like 100% of them should have said, the pandemic has affected me. Like, it's affected
Right.
me greatly.
It's,
Like,
yes.
everyone should have said, it should have been 100% across. So I don't know what that question is. Like, if I were to really like think about that, I have no idea.
Well, that's kind of was my point. First of all, we're looking at really old data, which probably doesn't
I'm
apply
not trying to pick
today.
apart, I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like, what did they
No.
see?
Yeah.
Like, what did they select? Like, what were the options on the
Well, one of the
question?
problems with this kind of a question, Joe, and I see your point, is how do you work on addressing the issues if the questions aren't even giving you information to make informed decisions? Is
So-
my point.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So we looked at this last year, so that, therefore, those, seventh graders were eighth graders.
Yeah.
So as a team, like as a site team, when we looked at this last year, we could kind of pair it together with their results from seventh grade to some behavior and social emotional issues going on campus that year. So like I said, this is it, by the time we get this, it is old data. So, but
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not even going about how old it is. I just really want to understand what the question was.
I
Like-
think it's so broad, and it was so broad for all of them, honestly.
With Satchel, do we get to kind of write some of our own questions, or are we stuck with their predetermined questions, do you know? Sorry, I know it's not Satchel.
They're predetermined. This is Youth Truth, right? So it's very global. We take a snapshot in March. So in the sense that it is kind of like the CASP, right? We assess kids 1 week during the year, and then we're determining all the stuff. So we need to look at more data, ongoing data. And Satchel Post will create that, where we can see where the kids are at. I am not certain of the questions, but I am specific, they're more targeted
Yes.
than these questions.
Yes.
Miss Mary, did you administer the Satchel Post, or were you part of that?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. I just don't know if anyone see the questions. Or Dr. Perez, do you have any sample questions that Satchel Post will have?
It's more about each individual student, and so it really looks at this is very global of what you're experiencing in general. So the other questions, and it varies depending on the grade level of the student that's taking the assessment. So I'd be happy to put together a packet for the board, some samples from a variety of grade levels. But it does discuss things like how you are experiencing your learning, how you're getting along with others, because it's really meant to help support the integration of social emotional learning in the instructional part of the day.
I like that it's gonna be multi-times throughout the year, though, because I remember my middle school days, and if you would have asked, most students are friendly to me, and I just got in a fight with my friend at lunch.
You'd say no.
everyone
Right.
hates
Yes.
me. And
Yes.
if we just had a great time at lunch, then yes, everyone loves me.
It can change often.
Yeah.
Yes. Any more questions? Okay. Let's see. That's okay. I did feel like a part of community. Most students, this is the question, most students are friendly to me. Once again, seventh grade. So,
Well, it's like sixth graders are just like always
RCHS.
happy because they're here.
yeah.
The eighth graders are like the sharks. And then the seventh graders realize like, oh my God, I'm getting picked on all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, seventh grade is a huge transition year. I mean, they're coming from sixth grade. The way that we, structure our sixth grade classes, they only have a few teachers. It's a little bit smaller community. We integrate sixth graders in everything at the school because we want them to start, that process. But I think then once you get to seventh grade, it's big difference. And then eighth grade, you're like, yes. Last year, going to the high school, I love everybody. So, yeah. But those sixth graders are our eighth graders this year, so, yeah.
It's always interesting to look at data, like as a special education teacher, I love data. And so data's always hard, right? Because you have so like if we had a test and I got a 0 and she got 100, our median score is a 50. Is that indicative of my learning or her you know what I mean? So looking at data is always hard to me to look. I feel like your questions are completely valid. I hear you 100%. It's a super broad question. You should see the standardized tests we give. They're even broader. Like, you know what I mean? So like looking at the things, I just see it and I'm like, you're right. The data, it's interesting data. It drives what we do. Just like in an IEP, data drives my goals. Data's driving what we're doing. So like all of this work we're putting into social emotional learning, it's based on our data. So the data that you're looking at is driving all this stuff we're implementing. So yeah, like the data, you might be looking at it like, this isn't that great. Well, like that's why we're implementing all these really cool things across. So it's driving a lot of what we're doing, which is really cool.
And that's, I mean, the exciting thing with Satchel Pulse is because it's not going to be like that. We're going to be able to get on things right away. So, okay, when I'm feeling upset, stressed, or having problems, my school has programs or services that help me. 42%, 58, 54. So, those, you know, those aren't satisfactory for us, obviously. So, you know, we had one amazing, I think, social emotional health year at TMS, and we had started a wellness room where we had Corinna Weil. She was like our social worker, and we had her full time for that year. So that was amazing because she ran a wellness room, and so the students, you know, we set up systems so that if they just needed to go in and talk for a minute, or if there was somebody on her regular caseload, you know, she was able to see them as often as she could, but it really created a safe space for those students and to be with an adult that could really focus on only that they need. And it was nice because she was also part of our, you know, our team where when we get together and we figure out our next steps and what else the students need, a lot of resources. So that year, it was a big adjustment for the students the next year when we didn't have that. So that's something that I would like to come back. So, okay, just as, you're doing this part.
So in summary, we feel like every member of our school community, that being staff, paraprofessionals, our lunch ladies, our custodians, everyone that comes across kids, has the right to a safe and caring environment while at school, and we try to provide that. In addition, the COVID pandemic has amplified the importance of social emotional learning, and there's research to show that across the world. Social emotional learning needs to be taught and tailored for different times and different populations. I feel like our population, it could not be more of a necessity. We've done more work around restorative justice and restorative circles the past 3 years than ever before as reintegrating kids back in off of suspensions, about like anything we can debrief and we can restore the harm that's happened, which is really rad. Social emotional learning needs to be supported by all members of the school community. I feel like this is something that TMS does, like a pat on the back for us, that we do really well. Like Jessie Aquino, our school custodian, like greets every kid every single morning by name as they come in. Like, I can probably speak for Han. I bet James does it too at Han, but I don't know every other custodian. So like we just have across the board, like our lunch ladies know every single kid's name. They're so, you know, and like calling someone by their name is nice and helpful, and that's part of social emotional learning, you know, just a snippet. So I do feel like we do really well. We have our whole site and campus is just on top of the SEL and implementing it. And it's more beneficial and authentic when it's taught as a part of regular curriculum. We're blessed to have Second Step, which is a social emotional learning curriculum that we have. Oh yeah, so we have it that's, and we do it like 3 or 4 times a week in the mornings for our Tiger Time, our SSR. where we actually dive into what's our topic of the month, compassion, what's our topic of the month, and we drive it home with SEL lessons, and it ties into PBIS. So it's all things that just tie together with like the ribbon of social emotional learning, which is really cool.
With that, our next steps are to, last year we did a Tiger Kapuli Week, and that's kind of like a community, meaning community. It comes from the Aztec Society, and it's kind of what it was in January, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Like mid-year.
we were just like, we need to stop right now and get everybody back to baseline and revisit everybody's social emotional health so everybody can come down and teach and learn. And it was really fun. Our leadership team did a lot of work putting it together, and we based, all of the activities off of our behavior expectation matrix, kind of retaught that, did lots of circles, community building activities. It was awesome. The kids loved it. So we're definitely going to plan something like that again. We want to bring in more for that week. And then Mary talked about second step. Our PBIS, we've been PBIS for a long time, but as staff, we get new staff, we always need to refresh. And I think no matter what, it's good to refresh. So we're going to be, explaining PBIS again to the entire staff, making sure we all have understandings and we're all have agreements around PBIS. And then we're going to do a lot of professional development around the castles. And she'll be great to help since
Team trauma informed.
Yeah.
But it's also like it teaches, executive functioning skills. Like how important are those for everyone?
Yeah.
So.
And really focusing on explicit and integrated teaching. A lot of our teachers, it's more beneficial if it's taught throughout the day. So right now we kind of have it going, some teachers like to teach it within, and they do, and or the second step lessons. So we'll be really working on that. I think that's it. Oh, I think we have pictures of our kiddos.
Hit us with your questions.
So questions, how do you measure your successes?
That's a hard question.
I
No,
know.
I'm kidding.
Sorry about that.
How do we measure our success? That's a good question. I feel like, for me, I can speak as a teacher. The way I measure, I feel like I'm one of those teachers that does it throughout the course of my day. And so I was just talking with Rachel Allen and Alexis Gebb the other day about how when something happens in my classroom, one of the most important steps for debriefing is I debrief with my staff and with the kids. So prior to, like, say it's a massive, chucking iPads in the air, we come together as a class in order to reintegrate, and it's like, okay, how do we heal prior to moving forward? So we meet our most basic social emotional needs, completely get back to baseline before we can move forward as a class. So one way I am going to measure success this year is to see how we move forward after hard things happen. I know I can speak for my class, hard things happen all the time. So the way that we move forward and the way that I debrief with my staff and with the kids and move forward to the next day, does the situation happen again? Is the kid chucking iPads 2 weeks from now? So there's a lot of things that I feel like I can do as a classroom teacher to help ensure I'm successful and I'm implementing things, and I've got a rad special ed department that I can reach out to help and facilitating because they're on the same page with social emotional learning.
So measure of success is less disturbances, obviously, going forward, right? That could be one of them.
Say it again.
So a major success could be, you're saying someone chucking an iPad or something.
That was my example.
Yeah. Well, so obviously, what I'm saying is the number of disturbances that interrupt
Absolutely.
the learning process,
Absolutely.
comes down as a norm.
Totally.
Then,
So that's data, right? Like the
Right.
data you're talking about is the data. That's
Sure.
data.
Right.
Right? So the number of times, how many iPads are you checking? How frequently are you checking the iPad?
Right.
That data drives what we're doing.
Right.
Do we need to debrief about it? Do the instances go down?
Sure.
Totally.
Right.
Strap on the iPad.
Yeah.
I would say, like, at the school level, we look at suspensions, expulsions, detentions, any way, and just, we use the Swiss data entry that goes along with PBIS. When you enter a behavior or whatever, a office or a student referral to the office, it enters it in a certain way that you can drill down to see exactly what like maybe that area is having, like, you know, campus area is having a lot of issues, or the time of day there's a big issue. So, you know, we really drill down and look at that. I would say also on my day-to-day interactions with my teachers and my staff. I mean, one example I have is last year, you know, it was a rough year for a lot of students, and we had to do a big restorative circle with some students, and you know, it was hard. It was hard for them, because I don't know if you guys know what all is entailed in a restorative conference, but it's hard. You know, you're asked some hard questions. You need to listen. You need to sit there and just listen to the other person. It's hard, and it went fine. It went great. And then I think like the next week, this person from that group was having some issues with her friends. She asked me if she could come in. They could come into my office, and I could just sit there while they talk. And I was like, sure, that's fine. And she led it like restorative. She remembered all the main questions that I would ask. And I mean, she just ran it all, and it was amazing. I was so proud of her. So, you know, it's those types of things that when you're implementing something and then you see them carrying that out throughout the day. So, and they're happy, smiley faces.
So, another question. So, if I had to look at a trend of checking iPads or whatever the behavior is,
That was a horrible example, huh?
well, okay, or obviously
A realistic example, I should say.
kids argue with other kids. Kids have
Totally.
outbreaks. You know, kids have issues that are bringing from home that disrupt the classroom or whatever type of thing. If I had to look at trend for the last 5 years, did COVID cause this problem to go up, or is this just a trend that you have to deal with? In your opinion?
Last year was a year unlike any other we have
Okay.
ever experienced. So I would say yes.
So COVID had some pretty big, 'cause,
Absolutely.
you know, now I'm home, I can do anything now, you know, now I gotta come back and follow the rules.
Yeah. It was hard for them to their boundaries to code switch. Not at
Right.
home, I'm at school.
Okay.
They didn't have the social emotional skills to, like, I mean, that example I gave you was at the end of the year where those girls came into my office to talk it out. Before it was like, meet me outside, we're gonna fight. You know, they didn't learn all those skills.
Right.
So it was rough last year.
Yeah, so hopefully we had a spike last year, and
And
then
it's-
this work
yes.
will cause that,
We're
you know, behavior to, and the learning process to improve. type of
Absolutely.
thing,
Oh,
so.
yes. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, you look at behavior data and academics.
Oh, sure,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
If I'm not focused, obviously I'm not gonna learn,
Totally.
right,
yeah.
yeah. So,
You've got SEL down, left.
I raised 3 kids.
Ah, not me.
I have a question. As a principal, how much time do you spend in the classrooms observing this social, emotional, and what's working and what's not working? And do you take that data and talk to your staff? And how much of your time is spent doing that?
last year, very little. It was like constant putting out fires everywhere. Usually, my assistant principal and I like to do a rotation where we are in every teacher's classroom for at least 10 minutes every week. So even though it's short times, we try and hit the classrooms at different times, so then we see the different things in different periods, see what's going on. That's hard to answer though, like, exactly how much time, because it really, no day is the same day when you come to school. So it really depends. That's our priority, and that, I mean, honestly, that's when I get the time to get out in classroom, I need that. Like, I'm sure you guys up there, former administrators, you need that too. That's like what drives you. So it's a priority. It just kind of, and that's why this data is important, so that we have systems in place to support so that we aren't putting out fires.
So did you say, I'm sorry, you said 10 minutes once a week? Is that what you said?
Yes, with every teacher,
Okay,
at
thank you.
least. I mean, that's like on the low side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have one question too. So this is great work, and I know it's something that's really needed in our schools across the country right now. But what would you say is one of the challenges to getting this work done and increasing like our scores? And then to kind of piggyback on that, what do you need from the board to get this work done? And you can
staff-
come back to us if you want on that.
I
because that's
mean,
kind of a big
off the
one. I
top of
just-
my head, staffing. I mean, like I said, that 1 year that we had a full-time, social worker counselor, it was amazing. And I know Luz Helena worked hard last year with SOS to get counselors, but they just didn't have anybody. I mean, we had a wait list. We only had one counselor. We had a wait list, and more than half the list never got seen. So today, I've taken a phone call from CPS for a family who don't have services yet, but need this little one to be in counseling. A parent calling me, please, they need counseling. And another parent. So first day of school, 3 phone calls like that. And then another major mental health issue. So it's huge, like, yeah, bodies. But I think it's just kind of the time in the, society right now. There's not enough people to hire, so, yeah.
Just one more question. So
Okay.
it's, it's amazing if you spend time on campus, the time before school, after school, during school, when they're not in the classroom, and the norms, and then what you said is the students understanding what are the limits type of thing. So you almost need full-time people there before school, because the energy sometimes, as I would go by the middle schools, you see groups of 10 kids talking, and what they did or whatever. And it's just like, why aren't they focusing on, going to their classroom or something? It appears, that's important type of thing. But if they're getting into a dispute with their friend and arguing, and then that, they're going to be upset type of thing, it says, I don't know what's needed to keep a norm, or you can tell me what's needed to keep the norm before school, breaks, and lunchtime. I think after school the kids probably disperse. Maybe they don't hang out like that. But when they're starting, at least it appears. And I'm not there every day. So, what's needed to keep that norm?
I would say, last year probably is the first year, like probably since my first year there as a principal, that I felt like the energy level was too much during those times. Like people were not calm enough. And it was just like, it incited too much. I think the other years, we started out strong with our PBIS and our expectations and teaching them how to problem solve. That as long as they have those tools, it just creates calm everywhere. So, because I do have a campus supervisor in the morning, campus supervisor after school, but one, so, they're kind of monitoring everybody. So I think that just has a lot to do with it. And I think last year they were so excited to be back and be social, but they didn't know how to be social. I mean, they just didn't.
Right.
But I think that I really think working on those tools with the students really helps when they're not in a classroom, when they're in groups. They know what's expected of them. They know what integrity is. They know what to do if they see a problem starting to happen. So.
Just one more thing to close the loop. You're giving us a presentation. You're telling us what you're going to do. It would be nice to get a summary result 6 months down the road. How's it working? How many chucking of
Today?
laptops are happening still? Hopefully none.
I will get that for you.
Did they break it? Hopefully
Oh,
not.
in 6
No.
months. Gotcha.
They had the protective cover on it.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Our iPads have great
IT
covers.
kills it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know what I do. Bye.
Okay, next presentation, Educational Services, Summer School Report.
Yes, I'm going to invite Rachel Allen, Director of Special Education, Angie Scardina, Principal of El Camino, and Alana DeMars, Expanded Learning Program Manager. You know, one of the most exciting things that happened 2 years ago is we were able to have a summer school. People were like, summer school? We haven't had a summer school. And now we're in our second year, and I'm really excited to showcase and have you, actually these ladies showcase what we were able to do this summer. It was really, really wonderful work, a lot of happy kids, and a lot of wonderful learning and not traditional learning. One of the things we know from the research is that summer school cannot look like the school year because it's just not effective. It has to be different. So I think we captured that. I'm going to turn it over to the crew here who's going to be telling us about summer school.
Hi. Okay, let's see. How do we navigate this guy? Oh, right there. Perfect.
I can do it for you.
Great.
Because you'll be doing this talking.
We really wanted to take this opportunity to just kind of give you an overview of what we did. We ran 3 campuses in a virtual learning program. It was quite successful. We wanted to acknowledge all of the diverse learning that went on at all 3 of those sites, and really to express gratitude to all of the people that made this possible. It was a pretty large undertaking, I would say. It aligns with LCAP Goal 1 and Goal 4, providing and supporting relevant and rigorous curriculum, and building and maintaining highly effective and relevant family and community partnerships.
One thing we'd really like to highlight is that you can see by this slide the dramatic increase in summer school participation during this summer versus the summer previously. You know, at both the middle and the high school, about 50 more students each, but the most dramatic was for elementary and pre-K. And this, for this summer, includes our extended school year program, went from 150 to 450. So you can see that's quite a big increase of students who we were able to serve this summer, which is really exciting.
So we started with Monte Vista, and Monte Vista was quite a hop in place. So we had 16 classes of just general ed. We had 397 students enrolled at the beginning. We had a wait list of about 75 kids to start the summer, so we could have served more, but we ran out of space and teachers, frankly, to make that happen. We had 215 students utilize the before and after school YMCA program. So it was a robust program across the board.
What were the hours for elementary?
For the summer program, it was 8:15. It feels like so long ago. Yeah,
No
until until 12:30.
Okay,
So
like half day.
yeah, it was half day, and the YMCA was open before that and until 5 o'clock.
Perfect.
So it was, you know, we put some systems into place pretty quickly. We had effective drop-off and pickup programs. We really had a very active busing situation going on. The special ed crew was quite busy, making sure all of the kids were getting where they were supposed to be. We had instructional assistants in every class and every grade level, which was a huge victory for us to be able to kind of navigate all of the ebbs and flows of the day with some instructional assistant support. We continued to provide free snack and lunches. Counseling services were on site at all of the campuses to provide those services. And we definitely provided some supplies. So there was a large wish list, and everybody got what they needed. They had some Friday fun theme days, cross-grade collaboration, which was wonderful. You'd see teachers out on the playground with little guys and older guys, and you know, I'm a firm believer that brings a lot of growth across the board. So that was wonderful. And really what was evident to me was that collaboration between ESY and summer schools. So it was important to all of us to make sure that there was that connection, that there was that. It wasn't us and them, it was we are all here, and I think it was a pretty powerful summer that way. Parent feedback was great. You know, across the board, we saw people that were really recognizing that there was, that their children had made, you know, leaps and bounds and growth there. Teachers really appreciated that collaboration. They appreciated that opportunity to work with people from different sites. That was great. We had a lot of feedback about the SPED and general ed collaborations that were there. We also got feedback that I think will be useful moving forward, you know, and every opportunity that we have, there's always growth opportunity. So looking at how do we collaborate in a different way? How do we grow those programs? And how do we make sure that people are feeling like they're ready to go? Because we hit the ground running pretty quickly. So that was some great feedback that we got. And the drivers for the future, you know, we coming into the process like halfway through, it really was hard for me to understand what was it that parents needed, what was it that they wanted as this program. So we asked a few questions. We asked, are they, you know, to rank their importance of academic rigor, remediation, like that, learning those skills that we may have been missing, enrichment, socialization, you'll see which was right up there at the top, STEAM activities, so some more specific programs, and before and after school childcare. So what this tells me is that there's really this opportunity for us to build that community, bring kids on, give them those socialization opportunities to be with their people. And so that was a big learning for me.
Did the district cover the expense for the YMCA?
Yes, we did.
And then did you have, you know, like in the normal school year, you have like the home daycares, where the buses come up and pick the kids up. Did we have that too, where we had like the little playground? I forget the names of all the different ones, but like
Yeah,
would Redwood Country come and pick up kids too, or not as much?
That's a great question. You know, I mean, I really focused on the YMCA, but I imagine there were a lot of people, babysitters on carpools, and it was quite a sight to see at 12:30 when they all got out. So, there was a lot of action. I believe there were some students that went to the Boys and Girls Club as well.
Great.
Our middle school took the approach where they were really enrichment based. So unlike the traditional, you're going to first grade, you're going to learn the first grade curriculum, the middle school teachers and administrators really saw this as an opportunity to design something that had all the nuts and bolts in there, but maybe the kids didn't necessarily know that they were doing math when they were working on woodworking and cooking and all of those things, but it was there. And this was incredibly successful. It gave kids some opportunity to learn something that they may not be learning about in their classrooms, ancient Japan or woodworking and cooking. And really what it did was provide the educators the opportunity to be joyful, more joyful in what they're doing. They were pretty jazzed. They were out there doing things that they were signed on for, and this was exciting to them. So there was that buy-in there for the teachers as well. Sorry, see, I can't even do that. So, like I said, the middle school program had 4 classes. Each of the students, 6th through 8th grade, got to take each of those classes. So it was a 2-week session, a morning class and a after morning class until 12:30. And then they'd flip in 2 weeks. So all of the teachers had the opportunity to see all of the students that were on campus. It was wonderful. I think they really looked at student leadership. So they wanted to make sure that the students had a voice in what they were doing. Having those opportunities to lead the art contests or lead the assemblies was really important to them as well. They really wanted that buy-in. There was actually a student at the beginning that the parent pulled them out. I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd day because it wasn't enough academics. So they pulled them out of the program. And later on, I would say a couple days later, the kid wanted to come back because all of his friends were in the class. So they were like, can I come back? Is there space still there? So it was really and they were getting the academics. It just was, it looked different, I think, for some of the kids. So they loved their classes. The feedback we got was good. And this is even harder for me to see with my glasses. But really the payoff was kids they want hands-on. They want that woodworking. They want those robotics programs. They want those opportunities where they can just dive a little bit deeper in that. Thank you very much. And we want to be able to give those opportunities to them.
My turn.
Yay.
So I ran the high school program here at Rancho. So I had Rancho Cotati students, Tech High, and El Camino students. So we had 143 classes finished. So I would say 95 of that percent were just one kid finished one. We had a couple kids finish a couple, which was good. I had 3 teachers, awesome, Amanda Cheek, Kaja, and Mr. Ortega. And then I was blessed this summer to have special ed on the campus too, so it was fun walking around those classrooms and hanging out with those kids, and the staffs were great. Had a campus supervisor, so thank you, because I don't think, it's nice having just extra eyes and ears on the campus as they're coming in and out. Seniors, I had 7 that didn't graduate, that graduated because of summer school. So that's pretty cool. We did Edgenuity classes. We've done that for the past few summers, just using our Edgenuity curriculum, because we pay for it on a year base, so it's a way to kind of get our money's worth in that summer in June before the contract's up again for the year, so we use all our seats and teachers and all that. But Lucy and Lana, I've talked years ago, I guess it would have been 2000, 2001, I ran summer school in the district, summer school coordinator, and that was when it was in person. And so we're thinking about obviously looking at those options next year, because I think it would be good, that direct teaching. Edgenuity definitely helps and supports and gets our kids the opportunity to graduate and make up classes, but that in-person, you can't beat that. So, and getting that, original A through G credit. We did, of the 143, we did have 80 of them were original A through G replacement credit, so that was good.
So were these kids at home doing it on a computer, or did they come to class?
Oh, no, they had to come to school. So I ran 2 sessions. So the first one was from 8:30 to 10:30, and the second session was 11 to 1.
And could students come to take extra classes, or was it?
Oh, yeah. So our labs were pretty much open. So we try to keep them down small so our teachers could build relationships. So they were about 25 per class. And then some kids ended up staying all day in both sessions, just depending on the kid. But yes, the labs were open to whoever wanted to attend.
Could a student, like in college, I could take, I took anatomy during summer because it was just easier and I only had 1 class field at a time. So if I was a sophomore going to be a junior, could I take my math class over the summer? Or it's not really quite like that?
Yeah, so we didn't offer that because obviously our need, right, our top need is to get our kids to graduate. So I will tell you though, we met every single request that was made. So like if a kid came and said, Miss Skirtina, can I come and take this? We probably would have said yes and offered original. We just didn't have anybody ask that. We actually had a science teacher at Rancho help out with the summer school science, because for A through G you have to have a lab component. And so the Edgenuity doesn't really have the lab component, obviously. So, but no, it went very well. I was excited. I had a great staff. I appreciate you guys' support. It was a week longer than normal, so we went 4 weeks instead of 3. So years past, we've only gone 3 weeks. But it was nice to get that 4 weeks, allowed some kids to finish 2. So it was nice to do that. So.
I had a question. So if, say, someone took a class and it wasn't A to G class, some students were coming back to replace that class with an A to G class?
Yes.
Is that what you were saying? Okay.
Yeah, so most kids in summer school are taking those courses to either, get ahead, meaning they're behind. I'm a junior and going into my senior year, and I failed a class last year, so I want to not have to take it during my senior year, so I'll take it in the summer, so I can just focus on my senior classes. So that's who mostly were in the classes, were my seniors and juniors. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to talk a little bit about the extended school year program. Extended school year is offered to students when the IEP team makes the decision to extend the regular year. It's not for all students with IEPs or disabilities. We had students with IEPs and disabilities in the general summer school program, but for some students, we offer this extended amount of time. It's 20 days, which was in alignment with the summer school program. And it is when the IEP team has determined, based on data that we were talking about earlier, that in order for the child to maintain goal progress or gain a critical skill that would otherwise be lost, they require this. So it's a little bit different in that it's required. But we had such highlights with having the collaboration with summer school this year. Just to say, teachers and service providers who were providing the extended school year services did a lot of collaboration. And then there was, again, themed units, hands-on activities. You can see the pictures there. Kids were really having a good time. We had access to mental health services and counseling for those who required that. And then I think the biggest shout out that I have is that for all of our students in extended school year this year, they had the opportunity to participate in general education activities, whether that was, you know, being on the campus and having a break or having recess with their peers and having that opportunity for social interaction, or we had at the middle school a shout out to 2 of our middle school extended school year teachers who what they did is they combined their classes, because their classes were a little bit smaller, and they would flip-flop. So one of them would go with half the class to a general setting and do those service delivery while doing these hands-on activities with general education students, and the other person would stay with the other group and do more skill-based goal work, and then they would flip. And they just came up with that on their own, and it was, you know, allowed for really rich, meaningful collaboration with general education and meaningful opportunities for students, and something that makes me really excited. And I look forward to continuing to do that. And we had such a great collaboration with the summer school team, and it really felt like a team approach. I'm going to also have the opportunity to talk to you about the VLA, which I am not as much of an expert about, so if you have questions, I might need to get back to you on those. But we had 34 students who were in the virtual learning program this summer. Students were supported both online and in person. We had 10 students in kindergarten through 8th grade, and they really focused on math and English language arts skills. We had 2 different curriculums. For K-5, they used Imagine Learning, and for middle school, they used MyPath, which both of those are online platforms where students take an assessment, and that guides and creates an individualized plan for that student based on how they did on the initial assessment. So really a good opportunity for students to get that individualized work to build up those skills. In the high school, as Angie was saying, it was both a combination of the A through G credit option as well as credit recovery, and all students had access to content area teachers who were participating in the Edgenuity classes. One highlight, is one of our students who doesn't know yet, so I'm not going to spill the beans and tell you their name, but because this is fresh off the press, but one of our students in middle school who was participating in the MyPath individualized learning plan logged more hours from June 13th to July 31st. He was in the top 5 of all students in all districts using this particular curriculum, so MyPath is giving an award, and it really was exciting for us to have such participation and students who were so engaged in their learning that they were really pushing past what we might have expected. So it was exciting.
I think that just looking at this slide, you can recognize just what goes into putting on a summer program for, you know, just shy of 1,000 kids. But it was an endeavor, and I'm incredibly grateful, being relatively new to the district, incredibly impressed with the commitment that we saw with our administrators, with every single person on this site, for everybody. It was a lovely program. So, and that is our summer leadership. Any questions?
Just-
All right. Yes.
Sorry, there we go.
We were out the door.
Yeah, out the door, and they're coming back, yeah. Summer school, this is paid for by a grant, correct? Yes. And the extended learning money. And how much longer do we have that money?
Dr. Pettis?
I know, it's a number, I think it's a number of years.
That one's ongoing.
It's an
That it's
ongoing
not a-
It's ongoing?
It is.
So it's an ongoing, so super.
We
Yeah.
initially, I think, only had one grant or something like that, and then it
Yeah, we had it was the ELOG, which gets confused with the ELOP. So the ELOG was short term. The ELOP is ongoing, and it keeps getting more and more funding. So that's not, I mean, until the state decides not to give the money, but it's ongoing.
The ESY program was paid for by special ed, and the high school program was paid for by the general fund. So ELOP only covers technically
TK through 6.
TK through 6.
Yeah. Super. I
Yeah.
just hope we continue to receive those funding because this great program. So super. Thank you for everything.
I just have to give kudos. I saw that 6 kids chose the Sengoku Jidai period as their favorite class. So, wow, 6 school kids, awesome. Kudos to those 6.
And just a side comment for the parent that was worried about the academic curriculum.
Yeah.
If they didn't learn their fractions right and that kid was home cooking with something, it could be a disaster.
Exactly. You never know when it's going to show
It's
up.
crucial to get the right amount of baking soda and sugar and flour and
is.
stuff to make those cookies good.
Don't add vinegar.
Nothing's worse than it's like, what did you leave out?
Exactly.
All right, thanks.
Were these all CRP USD teachers, or did we have some teachers from out of district? Or?
Almost, all but one.
All but one.
All but one.
Thank you for
Yeah,
providing that
absolutely.
information. All but
We
one.
did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you
we're
for the
ready?
opportunity to brag.
Thank you, yes.
Public comment? Okay. So we have no public comment for items not in the agenda. We're going to go to communications, student board member report. We'll start with David.
Good evening. My name is David Cepeda, and I'm this year's school board representative at Rancho Cotati High School. And I want to say thank you for having me here tonight. Summer has come to an end, and our Cougars are excited to be back in school. Today, we had a tunnel up before school to have students walk through for their first day on
Hey,
campus.
David,
Talk a little bit more to the mic.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
here?
thank you.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Perfect.
Okay, sorry about that.
Sorry, David.
Those old people who can't hear.
So, summer has come to an end, and our Cougars are excited to be back in school. Today, we had the tunnel up before school to have students walk through for their first day on campus. Over the summer, many groups, teams, and teachers were on campus to plan and get ready for this upcoming school year. Also, our very own ASB and Management and Events advisor, Jessica Holman, won the NBC All-Star Teacher Award of $20,000, which she will use towards our school. The ASB class also had a leadership training at UC Santa Cruz called Core Camp. While there, we learned many new ideas to bring back and apply to Rancho. We also had meetings on the 10th and the 11th of August to plan for the upcoming school year. Rancho hosted orientation for all incoming students. The tours were led by ASB members, showing the incoming freshmen and new students their way around campus. I put together gifts for all the staff members, which included an apple, note, and candy to show our appreciation and to welcome them to the school year. Class representatives made paws and with students' names to welcome back the students and their grades. With the year just beginning, class council applications are now available and will be due August 28th, and class council elections will be held on the 30th, along with Club Rush being held on the 30th of August. This is where clubs display themselves in our quad for students to sign up. And seniors will have their senior sunrise this Friday at our Cougar Stadium. Also, we will hold our first blood drive on September 1st and our first Spirit Day of the year next Friday, the 26th. The theme for the Spirit Day will be Color by Class, where each grade wears their class color. Freshmen green, sophomores pink, juniors blue, seniors red. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And then next up, Joe Stans. No, Naomi.
I'm going to cross that out so you don't read it again.
Well, student stands is next. So.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. I would like to begin by talking about Summer Bridge. Leaders from ASB and Yearbook spent 4 days being trained by Ms. Campos and Ms. Alvarez to lead small groups of students during our 3-day new orientation program. Summer Bridge gave an opportunity to the incoming freshmen to build new friendships while learning about the meaning of community and practice skills that will help them be successful in high school and at Technology High School, along with many fun activities the Great Race, yoga, and necklace, rock, paper, scissors were a few. Each group of leaders were tasked with leading a classroom with around 10 students. One group focused on transfer students. Over 85% of our incoming 9th grade class participated in our Summer Bridge program. A rally was hosted during this event, which allowed freshman representatives to give speeches to their classmates on why they should be elected for the position. 3 freshman representatives were elected, and the rest became ASB general members. During this event, they were giving tours and advice from their leaders. One of the students I advised described Summer Bridge as being positive bonding experience, where you got to know people and build connections along with learning about life skills. We are more than happy to give this opportunity to the new students of technology. We had as much fun as they did. Today at Tech, you were able to feel the joy. Around our campus, we were able to see so many smiling faces, as well as our wonderful teachers were so happy to teach new subjects to their students. Everyone was super excited to see their friends again. Many teachers began by doing some activities that allowed students to meet their classmates before teaching. We're glad to be back at school. Several of our sports team have started practicing, and there is already a soccer tournament happening this week. We look forward to cheering on our student athletes. ASB is in the process of planning our first event of the year, Club Rush, as well as some of our smaller activities, such as our first Comfort Week and our whole school rock, paper, scissors tournament. More of these events next month. This is all for this month's report. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we don't have reports from LIPSIA, CSEA, or SEIU. Okay. And then receipt of official correspondence.
Yes, we have, first correspondence we have is regarding Williams, letter from our county superintendent. Thomas Page Academy and John Reed Elementary were visited, and this is the spring visit, and there were no findings.
And then the Sonoma County the Treasurer's report for the quarter ending of June 30th, 2022.
Yes, this is an annual, a quarterly report that you receive, and we're just sharing it with you today.
And then 9, consent agenda. I make a motion that we approve consent agenda A through S. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel Services, approval of provisional internship permit for first grade teacher at John Reed Elementary.
So as you know, we're not always able to find a credentialed teacher, so this provisional internship permit allows us to employ an individual who is enrolled in education courses. So you're going to see the approval. This for this one, it is a teacher, a first grade teacher at John Reed.
Can I get a motion to approve 10A?
I'll make a motion to approve 10A.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10B, approval of provisional internship permit for a history teacher at Lawrence Jones Middle School.
So once again, similar story. We were unable to find a credentialed teacher, so we're hiring a provisional internship permit teacher.
I make a motion that we approve 10B. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 10C, approval of provisional internship permit for RSP teacher at Rancho Cotati High School.
Same as the other two. We are hiring someone on this on a PIP, and they will be taking courses, and we'd like to employ them.
I make a motion that we approve 10C. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11, educational services. 11A, adoption of proclamation 2023-1, declaring September as School Attendance Awareness Month.
So this is an annual proclamation. There you are, Mr. Marshall.
Hey, hey.
And Mr. Marshall, Director of Student Services, is here to answer any questions or regarding the proclamation and some of the activities that we are going to engage in to really make sure that our kids are in school.
So each year, as you know, in the month of August, you proclaim September as Attendance Awareness Month. And so after your proclamation, basically what you're saying is that there's a direct link between attending school and being successful in school. And the proclamation has some data points in it. In addition to your proclamation, in the first week of September, Dr. Perez is going to send a letter out to our families and our students, talking to them again about the importance of attendance. In addition to that, we're going to send out TK through grade 5 an infographic that's age appropriate, so students can easily see visually why attending school is important, and there's some good data points in that. And we also have a secondary infographic for them as well. Throughout the month of September, we'll be sending out weekly updates. We'll be putting them out, the same updates on our website and on Facebook, just to make sure that parents are aware. And when you look at our attendance data, which I'm happy to show you at a future board meeting, we suffer in the second half of the year. You know, usually through October, it's all green, and then it fades to yellow, and then it turns red. So we're going to be sending out updates as well. It's not going to be just about September. We're going to be reminding families and our educators and our students about the importance of attendance right around major breaks, and especially in the last couple months of school. Don't stop right before the finish line. Follow through, make those grades, do a good job, and prepare yourself for your future. So by naming September Attendance Awareness Month, we'll initiate all of these processes to make sure that this is the best year Cotati Roanoke Park has ever had with student attendance.
Awesome. Any questions? All right. Can I get a motion to approve 11A?
I'll make a motion to approve 11A.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A roll call. Oh, sorry.
Is it a roll call proclamation, or is it all in favor?
It
Says
says roll
at-
call right here.
Says that?
It says by roll call on the August 16th.
Mine just says
What are we doing?
action.
We're doing a roll call.
Okay.
Okay.
Trustee Brown,
Had to be a yes.
Trustee Chimino,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis.
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Yes.
Trustee Wing.
Yes.
11B, approval of consolidated application for categorical programs. And thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
So elusive, he just came up. and
Yeah, I
was
was
back
like,
there.
You're very sneaky, Matt.
He's like, come up here.
trying to catch kids right and dirty.
So this item is that requesting that the board approve the consolidated application for categorical programs, or as we lovingly refer to it as the CON app. And it came a little late. It usually comes a lot earlier in the spring, so it would have been at the end of the year. The state delayed significantly the release of the form this year, but this is something that would have come a bit sooner. So this is the consolidated application. It documents our request for categorical program funding, Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV. We have to officially request those funds. And we also have to complete some of the spending reports on specific timelines. So for some of them, you'll see 36-month reports, 24-month reports, 12-month reports. Depends on the title, with those reportings. Sometimes you'll see unspent funds, but that's money that then we roll over to the next year. And so this is an item requesting that you approve our application for categorical funding.
Is this a roll call vote? Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Can I get a motion to approve 11B?
I'll make a motion to approve 11B.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Business and operation services?
Okay, just for clarification, I know you had a lot of reading, and there's a long list of policies. This just wanted to, you know, that's a combination. We have mandated policies that some of, we didn't have, we needed to update, and we're still doing a little bit of cleanup with board policies and regulations, so that's why you have a long list, and we're going department through department. So you have a combination of human resources policies, as well as new policies that we need to update at this time. So we're going to do a little bit of a marathon, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bartolome for the first one, 13A.
There are quite a few, so if there are any questions, maybe that'd be the faster way of going through this, or do you want me to tell you a little bit about each one?
I have no questions.
I have no questions.
No questions.
Joe?
No. So, I mean, could we do like the consent agenda? Or do we have to go?
I think we have to do it individually. So why don't we, if you'd like to proceed that way, if you have a question, and then we'll.
It's first reading.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
goodness. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, B looks like it's the only action, and the rest are first, right?
Yes.
So go, Joe.
Well, on V, you can't go. That's the.
I think you're going to have to read every single one.
I have to?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Could we make a motion to approve all the ones on the first reading and then make a motion to approve the one for action?
I don't think we have to, it's just B we have to vote
Oh,
on.
just B?
Yeah.
Can we do that, Rochelle?
I think you have to read through each one
Okay.
as a first.
Okay.
The second, on B, you do have to take a vote, because that's the first and
So we need to, just read through it.
Okay.
To do the motion.
There's no motion on
It's just.
Only B.
It's just a first reading,
Okay.
so we're not approving.
So he just has to.
I'm just gonna
13A.
read them. 13A, first reading, board policy 3550, food service child nutrition program. And then 13B, first reading and waive second reading approval of revisions of board policy 6158, independent study. And this one.
We need a motion on that. Motion and second on that.
Right, so can I get a motion to approve 13B?
I'll make a motion to approve 13B.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then everyone's okay with me reading them like I was?
Yep.
Okay. 13C, first reading board policy 0420.41, charter school oversight. 13D, first reading exhibit 0420, oh yeah, 20.41, charter school oversight. That was board policy, okay. 13E, first reading, BPAR and exhibit 6173, education for homeless children. 13F, first reading, board policy 3110, transfer of funds. 13G, first reading, administrative regulation 3517, facilities inspection. 13H, first reading, exhibit 1, 3517, facilities inspection. 13I, first reading, administrative regulation 3550, food service and nutrition program. 13J, first reading, board policy 3551, for food service operations cafeteria fund. 13K, first reading, administrative regulation 3551, food service operations and cafeteria fund. 13L, first reading, board policy 3553, free and reduced price meals. 13M, first reading, administrative regulation 3553, free and reduced price meals. 13N, first reading, AR 4030, non-discrimination in employment. 13O, first reading, AR 4119.12, 4219.12, 4319.12, Title 11, sexual, no, it's not, 9. Yeah, sorry, sexual harassment complaint procedures. 13P, first reading, AR 4161.1, 4261.1, 4361.1, personal illness and injury leave. 13Q, first reading, AR 4161.2, 4261.2, 4361.2, personal leaves. 13R, first reading, AR 4200, classified personnel. 13S, first reading, BP 4216, probationary permanent status. 13T, first reading, BP 4315, evaluation supervision. 13U, first reading, AR 5022, student and family privacy rights. And then we're at 13V, the acceptance of gifts and donations to school and district. Okay, so can I get a motion or do?
I just want to add, we're really excited that we're able to get some pretty wonderful furniture. Doesn't even look used, but what we're able to do is furnish our district office. We wanted to create a parent learning area or a center or another meeting area, and we're able to do that free of charge because of this wonderful donation, so we're really thrilled about that.
I have a question. When I read through this, who is the Energy Fund? What is that?
This is a company that basically has moved to remote work, so all of the employees are now working from home. We happen to know one of the employees who happens to be involved with Michelle Wing, her husband. So the company is going remote. They were going to donate the furniture to a company that donates to school districts. And Trustee Wing said, "Wait, I know a school district." So
Super.
Rochelle and I went down there and got some really nice furniture.
Thank you, Michelle. That's great. And I'm sure this company is going to enjoy not paying the rent for those employees that no longer are in office type thing. So great, thank you. And also, thank you, Great and Rancheria, for $632,306.
Move on to reports. Board member reports and future agenda items. Krista?
I'm excited that we're starting a new school year. And I'm excited that we've got some money that we didn't think we were going to have. So Thursday's budget meeting is going to be fun. I'm excited. That's all.
Left.
So, comment. First of all, the kickoff meeting is fun, electric, just full of energy, and I really enjoy the awards for the people that have worked in this district, and the 5 and the 10 and the 15 and 20 and even the 140-year employees. I mean, that's special. I really want to thank all those people for their contributions to our district. It goes from there. On another note, the world turns. So 30 years ago today, my youngest started kindergarten. And today, 30 years, my granddaughter started in the same classroom that all 3 of my sons were in. So my wife reminded me of that. I didn't. That's how much dads pay attention type of thing. So that's precious, just kindergartners. So Grandma and Grandpa snuck in and met the teacher yesterday. We didn't go today. We realized there'd be a huge traffic jam with dropping those little ones off. We saw the little, and ironically, that family is remodeling their house and they've moved in with us. So today I got to see the work that, came home type of thing. So that brings back memories, which is amazing and fun type thing. On another note, it looks like that I'm going to do another term. So and congratulations to Cassandra also. Looks like you will also be joining the board. I'll have more to say about our board members that'll be leaving us in November. I guess will be your last board meeting, correct? Right?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, so, no. And other than that, you're not leaving, okay. It's a hostile takeover. The votes were corrupt, right?
We want a recount of no votes.
What it,
None.
she has electors.
Not one vote was cast.
Yeah. The vote is in November, so. Anyway, so that's all I have. It's a lot of special times. I'm also excited about the funding. For once, I'm also excited about curriculum. I'm also excited about, doing things for students. So, anyway, thanks, Joe. You can sit down now.
Yeah, that was awesome. I dropped my daughter off. She started second grade, and everyone was smiles. And then at the end of the day, she had the best day ever, and her teacher's super nice, and everything's just great. And I checked in with the office, and everyone was just super happy. And I really can't remember seeing that much the smiles and energy at that level, in a long time. And talking about what we're gonna, the events that we're gonna do during the year that we used to do. And it reminds me of community, and those were all those little things that everyone did, like the Halloween festivals and the little school activities and the PTA socials that we did, the movies on the grass at the school. Those are huge community things. It's more than just education. It's bringing everyone together, and I really miss that. And seeing everyone today reminded me of how important that was to me, and how everyone has been missing out on that. And I think it's a big part of growing up, and the kids seeing isn't just about doing your work and going home and doing your things. It's about hanging out and enjoying everyone's company. Everyone in the community's company. So super excited about that. Michelle?
I too went to the welcome back ceremony yesterday, and it was fantastic. The 40-year pin was very impressive, so that was really awesome, and all the pins were fantastic. As always, my favorite though was the mascots. They are so cute. So I really appreciate being welcomed by the band and having our cheerleaders there, and it was just a really great opening to the school year. So excited to see that momentum going forward. Thank you to Cassandra and Lef for doing another 4 years, and Cassandra for moving from over there to up here in December, so that's great. And then if we could just get some information, as we have an open seat come December, so I'm sure all of us have gotten the questions of what happens with that open seat. So if we can just get how does that work, and when does it happen, and timelines, and that, just so the community knows, and what district it is and where you have to live, and then that's just taken care of. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I thought my daughter started school today, 11th grade, and just a very stark contrast between last year and this year. Last year was a lot of trepidation going back after losing over a year of on-site learning, and this year it seemed like it was a little bit more, a little bit more of a normal attitude of going back to school. So I appreciated hearing from Tech Middle School talking about how those kids went back last year and they were so excited, but they didn't know how to, they just lost all that time. So, get back to the focus on, achievement and, social and emotional learning. I was very gladdened to see that this year we had 3 additional students. That I think last year the report was that 5 students that didn't graduate went to summer school, and this year we had 8 that recovered. So good to see some improvement there. Like to get it so that the kids that are going to summer school, I like that we had a backlog, like that there was a waiting list for summer school. So getting people that they're liking and feeling more engaged with school, so they don't have to do the credit recovery. But if they do, I'm glad that we have that program in place now. So, I remember I got a D in my freshman English class, and I had to do it in summer school so that I could get those 4 years of English. So I'm glad that we have that in place. I'm excited for a new year. I am kind of sad knowing that it's limited time for this existing board, but excited for what we're going to do again starting in December. So like Michelle, wanted to just get some information on how that's going to be handled with I think it was the District 4. And that's it. Starting a new year, so let's start strong.
Dr. Perez?
We will definitely be getting that information to you. Please don't worry about that. We were a little focused on the kickoff and opening school. Anyway, just wanted to give you a little update of what's been going on. I believe it was last week, we had a Welcoming Schools Professional Development re-released, and this was something that the principals wanted. We released all office staff with their principals to talk about how do we welcome people back. So we had a really different year last year where not everybody could come in the office, and so we had this, we enjoy and appreciate parent engagement, but we couldn't really engage our parents. They had to be a little bit of a distance. So we looked at that, and I wanted to thank Angie Scardina and Jen Hansen for facilitating that. And there was a checklist, so they're talking about what's important to them, and they were doing kind of a self-reflection on individual school offices. So that was really exciting work. And people were like, wow, this is the first time we've ever done this and work with our principals, and this was so great. So I got positive reviews. We had our new teacher orientation where we welcomed 58 new teachers. We had Richard Crane's back to school night a couple weeks ago. And then we had the variety of the orientation events. We had an orientation at Rancho, we had Tech Middle, we had Lawrence Jones, and I was able to pop into the Tech High Bridge program. What's kind of amazing about that is to walk into the room and have students leading social emotional learning activities as the teachers watched. So those students were trained, they were embracing their leadership, and they were welcoming their new, their freshman class. So that was really neat to see, and to see the students leading these activities. We had the joint special education committee meeting, the 2x2x2 with Rohnert Park and Cotati. That was a really good meeting, and I attended with Trustee Wing and Trustee Nelson. And on the 12th, I had the privilege of hanging out with our Education Foundation at the Farmers Market. Helped work the booth. They needed a cashier, so I was there for the evening. And yesterday, we were blessed with a wonderful donation from the Rotary Club. We have piles and piles and piles of school supplies for our students. So we'll be putting them, packaging up together so that we can deliver packages to the school. So if there's a child that needs these supplies, they can get them. But we have pencils, pens, markers, binders, folders, pencil sharpeners, you name it, we got it. And they said, you're going to get twice as much next year. This was only 2 weeks of donations. So I'm really excited about that. And such generosity by the community. Our first day of school, people are smiling ear to ear. Our parents are on campus. It feels like it's the first real school year. I've been here. It's my third year, and I feel like, okay, now this is normal. So it's really exciting. Started off my morning at UELF, spent time at Tech Middle, and also at Technology High School. I will continue to visit the schools. I was going to go do that in the afternoon, and I remembered it was a minimum day rush. I was like, no, wait, they're gone. So I will be back tomorrow hitting the road. Anyway, and wanted to let you know that all of our district office staff was out there helping our schools today and visible and present to help out in any way. So it's been a really great week. We're off to a really great start, and there's just a lot of joy and hope in the air, and it's going to be a great year. Thank you. No complaints were filed.